Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And as we continue to work on our own mastery, identifying our own truths within ourselves, we are here once again with one of my favorite guests who truly unravels us from the old ways, the old paradigms, the old thoughts, the old choices of words, so that we can truly embrace ascension and a quantum existence. Lisa Transcendence Brown is here with us once again, and get ready. We're going to drop a lot more belief systems and BS. Hello, Lisa.
I love that. Hey, sweet Loren and everybody joining us. I'm excited and happy to be here with you guys. It's been a really long time.
Oh, we are so excited to be here with you again as we hear you speak and talk about the latest energies and what's going on. It really puts it in a great perspective for each of us. So let's start with the current energies. Since the beginning of this year, we have seen off the charts. And you know, here's the thing. I know it's debatable. I know the Schumann resonance, there are folks out there saying, oh no, it's not fluctuating. But when we look at the graphs, things are going on. We do see some fluctuations, and there's energy spikes and everything. In fact, I believe that the current energy is so new, there are not even machines on our planet to measure it, but our bodies can feel it. So this is all part of something that's helping us drop a lot of density and go deep within. Lisa, give us your update as well.
Well, and about what you just spoke about, and it's important, we're in a really tumultuous time right now where everything's getting stirred up on purpose because everybody used to live from their head and their belief-driven reality instead of a reality that was, we all chose to come here and play out a human experience, experiment, program, and then it's time to exit what we call the matrix and then move beyond. And so when we're, with us going through this collective awakening for a huge amount of people on Earth, then it's expected that this is going to occur because something has to cause everybody to pull out of that old system. And it's going to be a multitude of things. It's not just one thing. It's constant until all of those systems collapse. And what we don't understand is that this, one, this is what we all chose to do, and two, there's a very important purpose in all of this. And if we can expand beyond the old programming and recognize, and that's the key here, is to recognize within ourselves and start embracing new understandings, but don't limit ourselves to a specific thing because it's constantly going to change. These higher vibrations and frequencies are what I see and what other people see are going to be relative to based upon where we currently are at that time. So, and the one thing we learn on this journey is that what's true right now, in a minute, it's not going to be true anymore. And so you don't affix to anything because basically you're going to have egg on your face if you do. Basically, because what happens is in the beginning when I started doing this, when I started realizing every reality is true, everything, doesn't matter. If you can see it, if you can imagine it, it's true. It's just the difference in what's physically here in this dimension and what you're experiencing and what's in, quote, another dimension or vibrational frequency. And there's an inner planes where you go into inner earth and deeply inside and connect on a soul level or higher self level. That gives you access to other planes of existence that haven't yet materialized here, but they're all very real too. And for each person, that's going to be a different thing all along the way. And it's important for each one of us to open up and share the knowledge that we have, because this is what actually makes a difference, is the understandings, because we've never, quote, done this before in this existence here. And so the knowledge is what helps us embrace what's considered new, but technically it's not new. We've already done these realities, and that's where we get into paying attention to the way we feel and what resonates with us and what doesn't, and move into a vibrational existence instead of one that's controlled by our mind. What's going down, if you will, is that we are flooded on a daily basis with Christed consciousness, crystalline, which is also unity consciousness. They're all the same thing, different versions of the same truth. As we move further, Earth went multidimensional. When the 2012 gateways opened up, then we basically went multidimensional, and those who were already doing this journey, and for me, I fell backwards into this. It was never my intention. You could not have told me I would have been doing any of this stuff. I'd have called you a liar. No way. But then I started seeing, and you don't know how you're supposed to accomplish all these things. You just know what you came here to do, and it changes all along the way, because the more light we hold, the more light we integrate into our being, the more we exist from a place of love, the more Christed consciousness we hold, the more access we have to everything. And right now what's going on is that we're moving from linear realities, which a lot of us have existed in nonlinear realities for a long time. And so we're moving from linear reality to nonlinear, and it's messing with everybody because their realities are being shaken up. And everybody, if you will, I'm saying everybody, and when I say you, we, I, it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to use words that are very limited to explain processes that occur. But as humans, and we lived in realities that were fixed. Our belief systems dictated our realities, and here our mentalities dictate. So the programs we hold in our physical body dictate. How expanded we are through our own consciousness dictates our physical reality, which is where we get into expanding our consciousness, because when you expand your consciousness, then your DNA actually starts changing itself and restructuring your realities so that new realities can materialize for you based upon your soul's purposes and your galactic missions and your human roles here. But as humans, we didn't have these capabilities. We lived in what we call beneath the veil of amnesia, and we went unconscious, and basically we didn't have a clue. Moving out of a linear reality into a nonlinear one means everybody's going to start to feel everything, which is where a lot of people, in the beginning, it gets very overwhelming. It's too much because we don't understand that all the stuff was suppressed inside of us, all this programming, and it's got to come up and out of the body or drop density out of the body. And when we're going through these processes, the deeper we go inside, the higher we're able to go with our consciousness, the more we're able to connect on a soul level, spiritual level. I don't use the word spiritual anymore except to describe processes, because even that became a separated belief system. And eventually we move beyond spiritual to being conscious. And you kind of let all these labels go, and you only use words to describe. And so we reword everything according to what frees us from the old mentalities and beliefs. And we take great care in the words we use. We take great care in everything we transmit out. We take great care in everything, and everything is based upon unity consciousness, based upon a very pure place inside of us. Our soul is completely pure. And so when we exist as our soul, we exist from this very pure place that is love, it's bliss, it's magical, it's amazing, and it's kind, it's respectful, it holds honor. There's full integrity here. And so what you're watching when you look at the outside world, and see, a lot of us can't see that what we call the lower dimensional realms, or old unconscious earth, or whatever you want to call it, lower earth. We have all these words that we use to describe. Human will take them and get all caught up in judgment, and that's not what this is. We can't see it anymore. Haven't been able to for a really long time. We don't experience it in our world. It's only present if we need to be aware of what's going down so that we can assist and help others, because you move into a guardianship for New Earth, and we're here to guide and connect. We came here with high missions and purposes to fulfill for all of humanity here, and this is where we all have to unite. This is where we all have to open up and share the knowledge, share our thing, share who we are, share everything. And as humans, we don't do that. We maintain the separated existence. And so this is a complete reversal of everything that was of an unconscious program, and to bring everything fully into consciousness, bring it fully into love, bring it fully into unity, and to exist from this place all of the time. Well, we have all these processes, and this is massive physical body process that we have to go through. And so basically we've moved into rapid and enhanced and advanced upgrade systems. Massive cellular and DNA regeneration, recoding, and we're constantly anchoring more higher density, lighter density realms inside of our physical body form so that we can actually walk in the higher dimension. And it's cool because it's a complete different existence than it was before. You have full access to everything, again, tons of knowledge. You know everything before it occurs, kind of. You know and you don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. But basically, for all of us, it's to shift the focus on what everybody else is doing and focus on yourself and what you're doing. Focus on yourself. Pay attention to your body, respect yourself, look at your own program, and check and see what's really going on with you, because if you are not conscious and aware of yourself and what's going on, you don't have any power. And this is about taking our power back and then claiming the realities we do want to experience. But the human has an entire different reality and mindset of what's real, whereas on the soul level, realities are very different, and they change in every second because the vibration will change in every moment. And we are that fluid and that flexible, and we flow, and we pay great attention to what we're transmitting out. We only transmit out the highest frequency possible because we know that that's going to mold our experiences here. And I'm going to stop for 1 second and see which direction you want to go. Can you hear me? Did I lose you? Okay. Well, let's see. I don't want to hang up on you and call back, but I might have to. Make sure I didn't lose you. All right. I'll call you right back just in case.
Hello. Okay. Well, we will let Lisa call back in. My goodness, okay, I see myself on twice. Lisa's coming in. I was speaking and I was not being picked up. So, well, Lisa, when we hear her speak, she always brings up such fascinating information, because it really is what's going on with our times right now. And we'll talk about that with Lisa. I know there's Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Did I lose? How long was I talking by myself? Was I even on the call?
You know, we were talking about how our computers go haywire. I was on and speaking with you, and it was funny because you could not hear me, and my microphone was not registering. So it's just interesting. But what I was sharing is that...
I just want to make sure it wasn't me.
Yeah, no, it wasn't you, and we heard all of it, so good. You are always so current with everything that's going on, and I love the most important thing that you said is to shift the focus from others and pay attention to ourselves. Recently, I've been joking with some of the spiritual people that I connect with, and I always like to sing songs, you know, must be the season of the witch. I've been seeing that people as we wake up and as we turn to this inner knowingness that we have, right? Our internal compass is very discerning these days, and it's on high. Our intuition is on high. And I think what happens is when we start to see, it comes down to this integrity. When we start to see others around us, perhaps that are not aligned to the ethics of integrity of 5D living, then we tend to call them out. But the most important thing is not to call people out, but look and see what is within us that we need to overcome. So now myself, for example, when I see maybe people that come after you, or you're attracted and someone presents in a certain way that is not a match for you. For example, someone else is asking about our spouses, right? When we deal with relationships and people are not always of that same integrity, it's interesting because we tend to get pulled back down into that negative. But what would you say from the higher perspective? I don't even want to use the word protect ourselves from that.
No.
But it's really standing in our mastery.
Well, and it's really important to understand, because the thing about it is that everything that occurs has a billion answers. And so that's why my answers take so long, because we have to look at it from every aspect, only because every one of those are true, depending on where we're currently functioning from. And so I'm going to go back to your comment a minute ago just to point something out. So, and then I'm going to present it to you in 12,000 different other ways, so you can see how many things could be true. Does that make sense? And how our human will actually look at it from one perspective. The first thing is, when anything occurs, check and see what's going on for you and the way you feel. Because the whole point of everything here is to get our heart open and get all those old, suppressed, and oppressed emotions and feelings and mentalities and beliefs up and out, so that we can shift beyond that. Now,
so it's really a reflector of something within ourselves that needs to come out. So yes, with me, being in media, it's an ingrained competitive thing. So there's still a residue there. And I shouldn't let it disgruntle me or get under my skin.
You use everything to see yourself. Everything. Everything that occurs. See, this is the key point, is that when you become your higher self, you're always, I'm going to say 2 people inside, but then we go beyond 2 and we become a billion. When you move into Oversoul, you got a billion aspects. And you're basically just moving between and integrating all of them, and it gets really easy and fun. But up until that point, it's not very fun, because you're clearing all your own distorted stuff. Now, nothing can occur in our reality that we don't hold the program for inside our body. That's our creation. There's something inside of us that isn't resolved. There's something inside of us that holds an old program that's unconscious. There's something inside of us that when that occurs, we separate off. And we look at the other person. Even the words that person's not aligned is the judgment. They're aligned with their current place that they're in. It just might not be aligned with where you are. But this is about respect. Respect each person's reality. Open, loving, honest communication. When things go down, do you open up and communicate with each other about the way you feel, about what's kind, what's not kind? And that's what all of this is going to boil down to, is fear of communication. And we let all this stuff get in the way. Judgment, get our feelings hurt. There's a point of this journey that you get to the point, and this is key because it's been coming up a lot the last 2 days when we're talking to different people. You have to get to the point where you don't care anymore before you can truly care on a different level. We cared too much. We got all caught up in it all. And that's when all the chaos and the drama and the personal stories and everything ensues. If we actually, as your higher self, you're going to be observing your little human, at the same time that you're fully present, paying attention to what goes on. For me, I'm constantly in observation mode. I observe everybody, everything. I see every little, you know me, Lauren. But the thing about it is I'm not judging people. I'm observing realities, and I'm choosing which ones I want in my world and which ones that I don't, which ones support our new existence here, which ones don't. What is the purpose of this exchange? What's the contract that we have to play out? What's the role we're playing? And I ask every one of these questions in every moment about everything, because that's how I get my answer. And then I get to choose. Now, if somebody does something that isn't in aligned with where I am right now, then I have a choice in how I want to deal with that. I can either hold respect for that person and say, you know what, that's theirs. It doesn't have to be mine. If you have any emotional response, it's yours, period. And it's about that emotional response, because if you will clear that energy, and for me, I just go to bed and say, okay, universe, clear it all, don't even care, clear the whole timeline, and we work to clear the judgment. We turn everything into a gift. You look at it and you see the gift in this. You see the limiting perceptions. I observe everybody and everything. This is what's going to teach you about mindsets. This is what's going to teach you, and I say you because I'm talking about every person on earth, okay? You, we, us. This is what teaches us how realities are created and what solidifies them and makes them real. The insistence that there's only one reality. And when you get into multidimensionality, there's not just one reality, there's a gazillion of them. We get to choose which one we want. We can either get caught up in the old programming and play that role out until all that energy's gone, all that energy's got to go. Or you can become fully conscious, and you can go into victim mode. I did it last week. I had 3 days of, I haven't seen ego within myself like this. I mean, we all have a little bit of ego. And we check it, and we're like, oh, there's my little ego, and the human part of us becomes the very smallest part of who we are. But for a while, it's not. It's the biggest part of who we are, and we have to work through all of this ego stuff. And so last week, I kept, like 3 days solid, I had all kinds of stuff coming. I'm like, wow. And so what I will do is first be shocked that I had all that inside of me, not judge it, thank whoever triggered me, because that's all it is. It's just an activation to help me get that programming out of my body so that I could see, move to complete gratitude and see the gift, clear the contract, and say, okay, let's bring this up. Now, the cool part is I will consciously, if I need to be a victim in that moment, I'll go into full-blown victim mode. If I need to yell and scream, I don't have to anymore. But if I need to moan and groan, I'll moan, because even moaning and groaning, notice the sound is a tuning process. You're tuning yourself to a higher vibration. But you can do it consciously instead of walking around. Most people don't understand when you're walking around complaining, you're tuning. You're clearing energy. And you're also not in a place of power within yourself because you're believing somebody else has more power than you do. You're believing. Pay attention to the stories we create. The coolest part of this is to understand that if you can actually see the program, then you can just completely transcend it completely, get the energy out of your body, go to sleep, clear your timelines, get up the next day, refocus your energy on what is important. Refocus your energy. Take that energy and use it to drive you in another direction. Take that energy. Utilize it. If you have to, you don't know how long. It was so funny because once we hit a certain place, if you will, that we're fully conscious of everything that goes down, but we also understand we chose to come here and go through these certain experiences, so you let them play out, and then you just choose the timeline you want to exist in. And when that timeline's about done, you completely close the whole timeline out. You have great abilities here. But everything is really, this has been the easiest year of this whole experience. But not on a physical level. Our bodies are going through a lot, but not for those who are coming through collectively because they're still clearing all this stuff out. Now, it's key to understand that every one of us have to go through these processes. There's a lot of programming inside our body. The key is to be conscious of it and not sit around pointing the finger at each other and blaming everybody else, because all that means is that you're unconscious. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If your heart is truly open, then you're not going to care what the other person is doing. You're going to see what they're doing, and you're going to go, wow, okay. Realize you're in very different places, but it doesn't have to be your place. You can, in the moments that we sit around complaining, we could have accomplished so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Take the energy, focus it. How do you take that experience and turn it into a gift? How do you take that experience and turn it into something that re-educates people? How do you take that experience and turn it into something that's productive? Because let me tell you, pointing the finger at other people is not productive other than clearing energy. That's all. So it's more recognizing whether you're conscious or not. Because it's never about the other person. The other person is your higher self.
Yes. Well, that is beautiful because as I was working through my own experience here and taking a look at that, it really fortified my view and my vision and my mission and purpose for what I stand for. So that would be the gift. Yep. So thank you. If it helped me articulate that, then it helps me articulate that. And as New Earth leaders, I love how you said New Earth Guardians. Every person on this call listening to this now or the recording is indeed a New Earth Guardian.
And a way shower.
And a way shower for so many others. Yes.
Yep. And the crystalline, see, most people don't understand that they're also crystalline grid keepers and gatekeepers here. Every one of us here that are doing this journey are all of these things. It's just that we might not be totally aware of it, or we might not be practicing it consciously yet. But every one of us, if you're going to come to New Earth, if you will, vibrate into the vibrational frequency of New Earth and live and exist here fully, then you're also a gatekeeper, you're also a grid keeper, you're also a way shower for everybody in your life. You are all of these things, and that's where we become very responsible for what we do, because it's a great responsibility to hold these higher vibrational realities in an expanded state of consciousness, no matter what's going on around you all of the time. And that's one of the things I don't compromise on, because my job here is to anchor the highest consciousness realities in the physical and hold them so that everybody else gets to enjoy them and experience them too. And I take that very serious, because this is all for all of us here. And when you realize everything you do is for all of us, and this is about expanding your consciousness to the bigger picture. This is not about the he said, she said, or she did, or he did, and all of that kind of stuff. That is an unconscious reality playing itself out. When you get done, you'll be done, and you move on to something else. But until that time, you're going to get all the energy out, all the hurt feelings, and any time you have an emotional response that is not love, it's an old unconscious program. Now, human aspects have no clue that there are different physical realities in each dimension. So you have a lot of people run around going, this is true, that is true, because what's happening is the frequencies on Earth have risen so high that nobody can live from their head anymore. Well, they don't know that there's a different truth. So as the quantum field relaxes and they come to exist in the unified field, they start challenging what is true, because this is about expanding the mind, the higher mind consciousness. And so there is a challenging process of basically deconstructing reality. And that's what you see going on right now, is the deconstruction of all of the old framework, of the old realities for everybody that was living in a matrix program. They don't understand yet that there are a billion, gazillion different physical realities but you have to hold the state of consciousness so that physical reality can become your reality. Physical realities are a response. They are molecules and physical matter that take form based upon the consciousness that you hold. Well, you have to hold that consciousness long enough for it to materialize in your world, which is where you get into the great, awesome, cool, fun stuff.
Yes, so then how can we collapse those old timelines, those old realities, and really focus on the new earth, crystalline matrix?
Many ways. One, pay very close attention to when your heart closes and you go, you, we, us. I'm saying, when I say these words, you know I'm talking about just a process, okay? We pay very close attention to when our heart closes and our head takes control. And then we actually stop it and say, no, not anymore. And you actually stop everything. And if you have to close your eyes and go inside so you can connect, because for the human, when their eyes are open, their head's in control. And you basically take power away from your head and you give it back to your heart. And you intentionally open your heart. You do whatever it takes to get your heart open. Because when your heart opens, your whole body will relax, your muscles relax, and your mind will open back up too. But there is the human mind and there's the higher mind. And you have to open your heart to get to your higher mind because it goes through your heart. So if you're going to keep your heart closed, you can't access your higher mind consciousness, which is higher intelligence, which is your higher self. And humans don't like human aspects. We all have a human aspect. We have a bazillion aspects that we become. And it changes our DNA, and we integrate them inside, and they all merge into one. So then there's no separation between our aspects, but they have different characteristics and traits, and you can tell which aspect you're being based upon what you're doing at that time. How can we? Basically, make a decision. Basically, make it your priority. Basically, spend your every moment of every day fully conscious and aware of yourself, and choosing that you're going to consciously expand your consciousness. I mean, I know it sounds kind of whatever, but it basically, you have to commit to yourself because our human, your little human, is going to maintain control as long as you allow it to occur. And so basically you choose on a soul level as your higher self that you're not going to let your human get control anymore. And it takes practice because you're basically remapping your neural pathways and you're opening up universal corridors in your brain that haven't been opened before, which is where the photonic light runs through your body and stimulates, and you feel your cells start moving and shaking. This is an actual physical experience where your body actually vibrates at a higher frequency and vibrates you into a different dimension. And the human mind cannot comprehend that. It's something you have to actually experience. When you expand your consciousness, then you activate yourself to wake up and awaken. And when you do, they actually start recoding themselves according to new geometrics and mathematical equations and all this really cool stuff. It activates your higher consciousness DNA. And your physical body actually vibrates at a different frequency. And when it does, you actually get to experience new earth. If you choose it, you elevate your consciousness. You open your heart. You close your eyes. You expand your consciousness. There are so many exercises that you can choose, and it doesn't matter what you choose. You choose what works for you. That's why you have all of us that do what we do, because we offer a bazillion ways and tools, but they're just tools. And it's going to change all along the way. When I first started, I didn't have, well, I did have a teacher, but a teacher that was not a teacher, if you will. My teacher taught me everything I didn't want to be. My teacher taught me everything that was not of integrity, and it drove me in the other direction. And it's really important to understand that until we exist in full integrity and honor, we're going to keep calling it forth, because all of that vibration that's inside of us that isn't full honor has got to come up and out. We're the ones that lack integrity. And so when we're faced with a lack of integrity, then each time it's going to drive you to be of higher integrity. And that's what this whole thing is about, because higher mind consciousness requires integrity. The heart couldn't care less. When you're in your higher heart, your Christed energy, when you open up to crystalline consciousness and Christ energy, that's the part of the phase where you come into learning how to just be. Just be. Let it all go. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And so there's a part of this process that we move out of our human into our heart, if you will, human ego, whatever you want to call it. I use human because ego got a bad rap, so I kind of let the word go. And I started realizing that that was just a human trait. Well, human and the distortions of Atlantean, the distortions of reptilian, all of these things are all the same thing. They're just a different word because one will represent our human reality, another one will represent a galactic reality, and we have all of these going on. So we use words to identify and understand, but we don't use them to stay in a prison of judgment. We use them to expand. And so it's important to pay attention to the words you use. Pay attention to the story that you keep telling yourself. Because that story, if it holds any energy or emotion, it's still your truth, and it's going to keep happening until all of that is gone. And so if you go into I call it conscious clearing, a really conscious state and open your heart, you're going to find it doesn't matter what the other person does. It matters what you're doing. And if you're letting the other person dictate, then technically it is your program. Is this making sense, Lauren?
Absolutely. Okay, so it's our program within us, and it's being triggered. Now, there's a question. Rain has a question. Does this mean when someone is being disrespectful, and we see that, and see our own stuff, do we have to continue on with them?
Well, okay, so let me say this really quick. The higher we go in vibrational frequency, the more it boils down to unity, love, and respect, honor, integrity. There are new earth energies that all our foundations of our new realities are built on new earth energies. And that's what the human can't understand is because they don't do energy well. Our human goes, huh? What are you talking about? Because it's a very linear existence, whereas New Earth is a vibrational experience, and the two don't go hand in hand, not for a while. Now, when you're faced with disrespect, then basically you're being shown where you don't respect yourself yet. And so basically, we go inside and we say, you know what, not anymore. No, not in my world. That is not okay. That is not love. That is not respectful. Now, for a while, sometimes we can't really respond very well. We just got to go look out for ourselves. But part of the mastery process is being able to understand that the other person might be being disrespectful, but they don't respect themselves. Therefore, they can't respect you. So then, if you are the Christed being, the godlike being, whatever words you want to use, because they all apply here, then you're going to hold that respect no matter what they do. And you don't know how many times that I have taken somebody being completely disrespectful to me, and I have expanded bigger, and I have transmitted complete love to them and told them, you know what, that is not okay in my reality anymore, but I'm going to show you respect because I'm going to teach you what is acceptable and what's not. But you're not going to be in my world if you're going to act like this. And I let them go. And they get to choose if they want to be in my reality. If they do, they're going to come from love and respect. If they don't, they can go play their timelines out somewhere else because there will be a point that they will understand when their heart opens enough and they've worked through their own stuff. But the biggest key that many don't understand is that humans don't know there's another reality that exists. They don't know how to live in non-judgment. They don't know how to exist with kindness and compassion and respect because they've never been exposed to it. Until I was exposed to somebody who didn't judge me and I was beating myself up, I didn't know that there was such thing as non-judgment. I had to be exposed to purity and love so that I could understand what it was. And that's part of our job is to expose everybody around us to this is the new reality, guys. We can do this. You become the example. You become the proof. Mm-hmm. And you don't sway on that. Just because somebody else lacks respect doesn't mean that you have to. If you shift into that vibration, and you can allow them to push you to that place, then it's not theirs. It is, but it's not theirs. It's also going to be yours, and you're the one. Because remember, realities are a vibrational response. Mm-hmm. Everything is a response. We're also clearing huge karmic old stuff, and there's different quote, and I don't like karma, but we have to use the word because it does apply. But the more unconscious the dimension and timeline, the more karma plays out. Once you've cleared each, I don't like level either because it's a linear word, but I got to use it right now. Each karmic thing, then you're done with that. So my first karma, and you don't know that you're doing this until it's over, and then you get told, oh, you just did this, and be, oh, like, cool. Now you can intentionally, if you know you've got some of these programs and stuff, you can actually intentionally go in and start clearing them. So I didn't know that when I cleared human karma, and it was, okay, you're done. You clear karma. We're like, oh, cool, we don't have any more karma. Well, I didn't know. Yeah, there was more karma. It took me 2 more years. The words were don't create anymore. Well, I went 2 years in a very ascended state, being able to maintain Crystalline Consciousness. And then I hit, you go to deep inner earth. You go deep into, you go through great central sun within yourself. You hit the galactic core within yourself in the grid work, and there's deep karmic everything going on in each one of these things. We have, for those of us who chose the twin experience, and you have twin karma to clear. Those of us who have gone through losing everything or not having any, and not having anything financially, there's abundance karma to clear. There's like every kind of karma known to man. There's galactic karma. I had to clear that. Didn't even know I had that till I did it. And so we're clearing all of these things in this existence. But as a human, we look at this physical reality as the cause. This physical reality isn't the cause. This physical reality is the result. And I'm going to pause for a moment because it takes a moment for some people to absorb.
It is, yes, amazing that.
The physical reality is the convergence of all dimensions in this physical space right here. And what everybody is experiencing is all the galactic dimensions, all the heavenly dimensions, all the hell dimensions. They all merge in the same place until you clear hell inside of you. You don't get to leave hell until you clear purgatory and bardo. You don't get to. You have to clear those things within yourself, transcend them from within, so you can completely leave that timeline altogether, and you don't have to go back anymore. It's really cool. So I'm gonna pause for a minute because I know that we can do questions.
Yes, I'd love to take some questions from our audience.
Does this help, Lorraine?
Well, it does, because this is a hot topic of lately, and I know that we've spoken with you. I've got a video clip that's coming out with you, and you're talking about the timelines collapsing. Actually, the timelines are merging. We've got this higher Christed crystalline light and timelines coming in. And so we can leave those timelines, and you said until we clear it within ourselves first. So basically, in a nutshell.
And your dream state plays a huge part of this too. You can clear in your sleep. So like, you use your sleep state to do everything, and then your waking state becomes very easy. So like, I do all my stuff in my sleep state, and my days are really easy. My physical world is simple, but I'll clear a lot of stuff in my sleep. And if I get up and I'm still clearing anything, then I'll have an emotion going on. So like the other day, we were clearing heavy-duty timelines, and I woke up, and I was not in an awesome place. I was like, okay, well, apparently this one's going to take a little while. And I basically just observed everything, felt the emotion, brought it up. It took all day to pretty much move it out and clear, and then you shift and you're bang back on. Now, it's important to understand cellular cleansings are a very important part of the process, but you don't have to get all caught up in them and get stuck in them. So while they're important, they don't have to dominate your world, because part of being multidimensional means you can clear and do something else. So if I'm clearing heavy-duty energies, I might need to go outside in nature or go take a bath, or I might need to go get in the bed and sleep through it and clear, because when you're getting hit with really high photonic light, then your body feels like it's being drugged and it's real heavy, and you basically are going to sleep. Well, you can actually clear a ridiculous amount of timelines when you're sleeping, and you can get up and go focus your energy on something else. If I'm clear, it used to be when I was clearing some of the bigger timelines and programs, then basically I would get up and every day I had a list of something I wanted to accomplish, and I would focus my energy on accomplishing while I was clearing at the same time, because it didn't need to rule my world. As a human, we sit in it all day long, and it runs our world, but we don't have to do that anymore. So it's important to understand you don't have to sit in things unless you just feel you got to sit there, and you'll sit there until you get tired of sitting there. Void spaces come in, all kinds of things occur. The body template is constantly going through rewrite, cellular programming. We've moved into rapid DNA upgrades on a cellular level. Our bodies are working really hard. We need to love and respect our bodies. And as a human, we don't do that. We don't understand. Everything is in the body. Your whole universe is inside your body. And when you expand as the whole universe, you're going to see you're going to float in space. You're going to get the whole holographic field opens up, and you're floating, and gravity goes inside your body. And as a human, you want to grab a hold of something and anchor back down. And it's like, no, float. Don't interrupt the process. But it'll scare the human aspect to death. But the thing about it is those moments of expansion give you access to everything again, and you finally get it. You're like, oh my God, I had no clue. And that's what remembering is it's actually having the experience again. And you get to float in outer space, and you get to go through galaxies, and it's beyond anything our human, but the human wants to, and like I have a girl here with me now, and the other night I was telling her about how this happened, and it activated her to go through the experience. And so I told her, I walked her through it, and I'm like, just stay in it. Your whole body goes paralyzed. You can't move. I'm like, just be okay. You're not going to fall out of the chair. And I stayed there with her in case she did. But used to be when this would happen to me, I would heat up, and then I'd have to go crawl in the bed and stay in the bed. When I was going through it, part of my role was to write when I went through the experience so that people would know that this is normal and a part of the ascension and embodiment experience. But when you expand into another galaxy, your whole world and your reality is going to change, because everything of a unconscious program or a lower vibration in your body, it's about to come up and go, and you're going to be clearing timelines. Your whole reality is going to start adjusting. Things will appear to go sideways for a while, and all that is alignment, constant realignment on a soul level and a galactic level for us. And there's a whole bunch more I can go into about our Stargate systems, because we have our own personal Stargate system that links up to everything too. But in order to activate that, there are things we have to do, which is basically standing in your own integrity and honor and love and respect for yourself, holding your realities in place and not compromising. And the more you do this, then the easier you link back up to everything. And like yesterday, I woke up, and I was completely depleted because I've been going, and I didn't get to recharge. I haven't been able to go out in the sun. And I'm like, I don't have an ounce of anything left, because I hold massive realities in place. So everybody in my field, everybody in my house, everybody on the land is in my reality. They get to experience my reality, and it's magical, and it's amazing, and it's easy. Well, holding everything so vastly, because you've been to my house, you know how big this property is. Everybody on this property gets to live in my world. It's easy. They don't have anything to worry about. I mean, constant opportunities and amazing, but I'm the one that holds that in place. So when you walk up in here, you're in my world. Well, holding such a vastness in place takes a lot of energy on our part. I have to be I am constantly in tune with everybody and everything, constantly in every moment. You don't ever get to take a break. Well, yesterday morning when I got up, I'm completely exhausted, and I got nothing left, and I had things to do, and I'm laying in the bed, and all of a sudden, I see that I could actually disconnect through my own Stargate system and let everything go, and that I didn't have to stay in tune. I didn't have to hold it all in place. My system had it. I could just let go. And I'm like, cool. And so I just laid there, and I went through my Stargate system, and I disconnected from the entire field. And I was able to maintain a consciousness of everything, but I didn't have to be responsible, and so it took like a lot of load off of me, and I was able to go take a bath, go lay out in the sun for a few hours, and recharge, and within a few hours, I was like bang on right back. And then my field, my Stargate, just kind of linked right back up to everything on its own. It was so cool. I'm like, oh, a new gift. That's cool.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so the inner Stargate, what does that mean? What was that process of disconnecting through the Stargate?
Well, we each have, okay, so first you have to link your Stargate up before you can disconnect from it. So first you want to work on activating your Stargate, because our Stargates were all offline. Well, as each one of us elevate our consciousness and open the neural pathways and anchor photonic light in our body and focus on maintaining the Christed state, then your Stargate automatically activates for you, and there's a link-up system that occurs with all these encoded, all of these encoded geometrics and codes and sequences. So when I walk around in a holographic field, and I get to see for humans, the air is empty. But for me, I can see light and codes and information all floating around in the air, and all of that stuff comes together and creates physical reality here. And so when basically your Stargate system, at first it's the Merkaba, and then once we go through physical body ascension, then that collapses, and then it turns into the toroid field, and then once we go through a bunch of processes with that, our Stargate starts coming online. So this is a process. So basically, when you collapse the human chakra system into one, and you open all of those vortexes up fully, then you're able to move from the original 7 chakra system into the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20. And when you activate all these others, the star chakra, the soul chakra, the earth chakra, you get all these different chakras that you activate. And as you activate each one of these, your Stargate system will actually come online on its own for you as you maintain the highest state of consciousness all of the time. It's something that does it for you. And your Stargate system will actually carry you and give you the capability for the cells in your body and your field to actually travel galaxies and universes, and you actually get to move and shift in and vibrationally in and out of vibrational realities really easy just by being in tune. So it's an automatic process that occurs as you elevate and expand your consciousness, and you hold it. And as you hold that highest state of consciousness, then your physical body is realigning. Well, as your physical body and you're clearing these cellular programs, then what happens is it actually activates your Stargate system to come online. So your crystalline consciousness and your grid, because you have a crystalline grid in your body too. Your muscles, your bones, your organs, everything is a part of the grid system. And it links up to your Stargate. It's an entire intelligent, living, breathing organism system that's alive. And it takes being fully in tune and fully conscious all of the time. And it's a natural, organic, and easy part of the process. But in the beginning, okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you have, because time ceases to exist and it speeds up and it slows down, and when we're going through Stargate alignment, time collapses and everything speeds up. So when you're in flow as the whole universe and galaxies, then basically you're flowing as things speed up and slow down. So I can speed up and slow down based upon the vibration that's present at any given time. Am I making sense, Loren?
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, now, when a collapse occurs, then everything in your world starts speeding up and you're not able to keep up. Things that haven't been resolved are all in your face. It's like an obstacle course that you're trying to, when we have a massive jump, when you wake up, do you notice some days you wake up and things just boom right in your face and they're coming at you really, really fast and it's like, oh my God, and you can't keep up? You've just gone through collapsing. You've been traveling in your sleep, and when you wake up, all those things have collapsed, and everything that is not resolved and is not okay is in your face. That's why it's so important every day to resolve everything. Move it out. You don't prolong anything. You don't procrastinate. If you put it off, it's going to come back, and I call it getting caught with our universal pants down. It's going to come back and bite you in the butt. And so basically every day and every moment, you move everything out. You finish up everything that's got to be finished, and then basically every day you're moving through reality so present in the moment that you're flowing with everything as it occurs. And when you do this, then realities start to take on a new form. But if you disconnect and you go unconscious, then you don't have any control. And control is very different here than it was before. Control is being in tune and listening and receptive and flowing in unison with everything. And when your heart is open and your higher mind is on board, you don't miss a beat. You don't think about things. You boom, boom, boom through it. You don't get all up in your head. You let things go really quickly. You know, move through it, move through it, move through it. Don't get stuck in anything. Keep going. Once you do, then your Stargate and your physical body will recalibrate itself, and it'll realign, and everything will flow back down, and it'll get really easy again. Do you notice those days when this happens?
Yes, absolutely. And
well,
that's
what was going on.
That's what was going on. And it's usually, again, those days when we're centered and we're out in nature. And it's amazing the power of awareness and consciousness to be able to let these programs be witnessed by ourselves and then released. That is very powerful, because when we do, look at the magic that is right there afterwards, the magic within ourselves for us to experience, because we're not.
And it's important not to judge when something comes up. Because the first thing our human aspect wants to do is go to judgment, whereas if you're fully present with yourself, you're not going to go to judgment. You're going to go, oh, cool, some old stuff's coming up. Let's move this out. And you will actually become an active participant in moving it out as fast as you can. Now, usually all you have to do is just observe it. You don't have to do anything but see it, because the realization alone gives you the ability to collapse the whole reality yourself. That's the cool part, is all you have to do is see it.
So would you say, okay, so the realization, would you say that's about 80% of the work, 70% of the work?
The realization is 90% of the work.
98.
Yeah, because then the next thing is going to be what you're choosing to do, which is the other 100%. Because you can see your choice.
Choice is only 2%.
Nah, actually it's 100% too. They're all 100%. But you have a lot of 100% here.
Yeah.
Because if you're not consciously choosing, then you don't have a choice. So choice is 100%. Your decision because the human doesn't like to choose. It wants to wait till things happen and then they want to complain. Well, that's fine. That's going to be the reality you get. But realize that if you actually start choosing, no, and get rid of the word I don't like or that's right or wrong, because you're playing the duality game. It's easier on you. You can do whatever you want to. I just try to give pointers and stuff. So basically, it's easier if you look at it, and what I started doing was saying that doesn't make me happy. I don't enjoy that. That's not love. That's not respectful. And you basically call it like it is. That's not okay. Not in my world anymore. And that's what I started with, was that's not okay. And what I started telling people, and they're like, Lisa, but what about that? It doesn't make sense. I said, I don't care if it makes sense, because it's not going to make any linear logical sense. You're going to look like you're a crazy person for a while. Then what happens is everybody that's crazy ends up being happy, and everybody else is going through hell. So embrace the crazy. It's going to get you to where you really want to go. But you got to get over the judgment of all of this stuff, because in the beginning, photonic light distorts the realities, and the higher realms look bizarre and weird. But once you get to the higher realms, if you will, then the lower realms are distorted and they're bizarre. So it flips. Your world's normal, and everybody else is crazy. Choice. As a human, when we're unconscious, we don't have a choice. Well, you have a choice in every moment. You just have to choose. Well, humans don't like to choose. They like to be victims, if you will. Not really. They don't like it, but I got to use words. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Humans do love to be victims, because it means that they get to blame somebody else, and they don't have to stand on their own 2 feet, and they don't have to step up, and they don't have to do what challenges them, the uncomfortable thing. They don't have to stand as love. They don't have to use their money to help each other and make a difference. They don't have to share. Well, that's where suffering comes from. Those of us here, we use everything in service. We use everything to make a difference. We use everything to support each other. My home, my money, my energy, my time, everything focused intentionally to make a difference. And the people around me, they know I care. This is about how we treat each other. Because it's going to boil down now, everything is coming under scrutiny as far as relationships go, because of the phase that we are moving into. A collapse is the same thing as a convergence. Our worlds here are not collapsing anymore. We collapse them ourselves, but they're just geometric and they're just holographic, and they're energetic. In the beginning, it's a very physical experience, because we're breaking heavy-duty programming, heavy-duty emotions, heavy-duty scary stuff, if you will. But basically all that fear and all that stuff is what created that whole reality to start with. So if we basically just go full-blown into the fear and realize that it can only occur if we believe it, if we allow it, if we keep playing in the old programs, and we start realizing we don't have to have that reality anymore. But it does take shifting our consciousness. And you basically flood your whole consciousness with everything high vibration. Doesn't matter what it is. Get obsessed. Read every book. Not linearly, but if you have to, fine. Blow your brain out. Because when you blow your brain out, your energy is going to collapse. And when that happens, then your body's going to basically break those old structures down, and they're going to restructure according to a higher vibration and new encodements for you. This is why humans have to basically be completely wore down and break, is because there's too much programming in the way. And I know we got a lot of questions, so I'm going to take a break right there. But it's important to say a lot of these things, because once they've been heard, then we start giving ourselves permission to change our own programming, which is key here. You get to do whatever you want to. This is the beauty of this. It's your reality. It's your reality. You get to do whatever you want. The only difference is it has to align with your soul. It's not going to be a human-aligned reality anymore. Those are the ones that collapse. And so you want to check and see, what are you trying to align with? Is it from deep inside of you and what is truly honorable and respectful, and what your inner and higher guidance is trying to show you? Are you trying to avoid and ignore and not listen, which is what the human does? And we don't like our higher self-guidance for a while, because it's going to push us to do everything that we've avoided and we didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if we listen to it, it's going to be the easier path. It might be more uncomfortable, but it's the fastest way to easy. But if we choose avoidance, it's a longer, drawn-out experience sometimes, but not anymore. It's the harsher experience now. So when you understand this, you might not be comfortable, but you're going to know that if you will align on a soul level, align on a higher self level, Align from a place of pure. Align with what's truly honorable and love and respect, not for everybody else, but for yourself. Because in the old days, we cared about everybody else. You stop caring about everybody else in the old ways. You start loving and respecting you, and then you have the capability to care about others in a whole new way. And that's what all of this is about, because our relationships now, as we move into these higher phases that we're coming into, every one of us have really important jobs, if you will, roles, purposes here of uniting and coming together for all of humanity. And we can't do that if everybody's still playing in the old ways. So there's those of us who are already doing it, and there are those who are resisting. And that's the difference between old earth and new.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to be quiet.
A lot for us to take in and integrate and really embrace. Beautiful, Lisa. Okay, well, some questions coming in from our audience. Jillian, she asks, is the pulsing mandala of various colored light I see with eyes closed, especially when I'm in a warm bath, is it a hologram for my Stargate?
Well, one is this is key, okay? Ask yourself the question and see the answer you get, because you already know. Your human mind questions things because you're not quite sure. Trust the answer you get. If you feel it is, and that's when I started doing this, I started realizing I had to believe everything. And then I had to not believe anything at all. And so because there's a paradox that goes on where everything's basically an oxymoron. And then you start living in metaphors and all this kind of stuff. The pulsing mandala that you see is going to be a geometric code and sequences that's activating in your holographic field in order to then activate your cells to reconfigure themselves according to that new geometric code too, which is really cool. It's important for everybody here. I had somebody post on my Facebook wall the other day saying, I post a lot of times about we're getting hammered with high frequency light, and go, if you feel, go lay down, because people are like, oh, I didn't know that's what that was. And somebody posted and said, I feel like taking a nap, and is this okay? And I'm like, it's more, the key here is if you feel like taking a nap, then take a nap, because our human will get in the way. We stop questioning and we start honoring. If your body says, and my body tells me what to do. My body tells me what to eat. My body tells me I listen, and the cool part is the more you expand your consciousness, the more you can hear, see, feel your own subconscious. The more you can hear, see, feel, and watch your encoded DNA. You can actually watch your cells activate and see all these cool things. You can watch the holographic field, and all of a sudden, your new language is quantum physics and quantum mechanics. All of a sudden, you're seeing in geometrics and codes and sequences. And the cool part is the vibrational realities are easier because they're simpler, but they confuse the human because the words we use, the human mind can't comprehend. It is very simple here to come from a place of love and know that that's recoding your DNA so that your new reality can be more loving too. But love is not being a doormat. And you come into a whole different part of this ball game where you have to start respecting you and saying no. And I was surprised at how much I had to say no for a really long time. No, not okay. No, 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 because you're breaking the old program.
Mm-hmm.
But trust yourself. Everybody here. The more bizarre it is, the more it's probably real.
Oh, and with that, I have to play this little snippet. So here comes some music, everyone. It's perfect. And it's getting bizarre because there's a new Mother Nature taking over. So cool. Well, Lisa, I want to make sure that we have time to get to some callers. We've got plenty of people with their hands raised. But you do teachings. Your teachings, I want to give you a moment to talk about New Earth existence. On our special offer button, we've got a couple of things. Option 1 is a good starter, quantum activations. But then New Earth existence is a full program, and it's new. So it really helps those go even deeper in these teachings. Share about that very quickly, and we'll go to some phone callers.
Okay. Everything I do is light encoded. Everything I speak. So I might speak English, but I'm transmitting geometric codes and sequences and light encodements basically to every part of each person, which is why a lot of people will get really tired and want to go to sleep or really relaxed, because higher frequencies relax us. And then they do other things too. The package 1 is they're basically light encoded activations that go straight to your crystalline, your plasma, crystalline light body, and they activate higher consciousness in a very different way. So the package 1 that you have is the one that I did, and we keep that one because a lot of people that have never heard or done, that's a great place for them to start because you can do them as often as you want to, but they are going to activate things and expedite things. So if you find things getting a bit intense, either back off or say, okay, universe, chill out, help me here, slow things down a little bit, because most don't understand that when you raise your vibration really, really fast, then your physical reality and energetic reality, everything will start to align for you. And our human will be like, whoa, hold on, I wasn't all ready for that, I didn't want that, and we've avoided everything. So it tends to put a lot of things in our face, but the more we function on a soul level, the more we do extreme really well, because then we go quantum, and then we move super quantum, and we move really fast and easy. So as we do this journey, it gets really easy to do things to the extreme. So I'm going to say that, and then for the second one, the second special offer is the New Earth Existence program, which I taught. I had a fellow angel join me to do this with me too. And what we did was, I think it's over 50 hours, and it's in-depth trainings, conversations. It was a group. We discussed everything, talked about 12,000 different perspectives, different tools, and we basically covered everything we could cover. And the whole thing is an activation. And what it does is it brings in the knowledge, that basically knowledge is the new technology. Knowledge is what gives us our power again. Knowledge of realizing, wow, it doesn't have to be so hard. Wow, I can do anything I want as long as it's totally aligned. And it's about breaking down those old programs and old structures and recreating them in alignment with New Earth. Well, New Earth has a complete foundation that has to be rebuilt from the inside out, and that's what everybody has to go through. Is you basically start aligning your whole reality in alignment with your soul. And as you do this, and as you embody your soul, all of your aspects, you'll clear all distortions, and you will return to a place of purity. And it's this place of purity that we get to walk around. And I do mean literally walking heaven on earth. It's amazing. It's magical. Are we clearing stuff? Yeah. But the thing about it is we're aware of it, and we move through it really quickly. And then portals open up, and new gateways and passageways open up, and new amazing stuff starts coming. It's not the old realities like it was before. You're not waiting for the shoe to drop. You don't suffer anymore, but you do have to choose which reality that you want to live in, and realize that every dimension has a different physical reality. So if you're insisting that a certain reality is the only one, then you're binding yourself to that reality, and you're kind of missing out all the other bazillion awesome ones. So that's really important to understand. This program breaks it down. We took it, and I think it was over 13 weeks, and we picked a topic, and basically I wrote out like everything that I could think of at the time, and we threw it all in there. It's a very non-linear course. We bebop all over the place, which is how the higher realms and the higher dimensions work. There is no linear here. It's about the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is taking all the puzzle pieces and tying them together. The more expanded we become, the more access we have to all the dimensions. And so basically we have to pull all that data and information together here and then explain it in a way that it makes sense, and it's creating visuals. It's tuning into the energy of things. And our human mind will want to linearly figure things out, and that's not how this works. So basically, when you envelop yourself in 50 hours of teaching and you listen to these things, they're constantly activating. They're constantly breaking those old structures down. Even though you're not aware of it, it's doing it for you. And it's giving you things, new awarenesses that you get to challenge your own reality, because you will have to challenge your own reality and yourself in order to expand and activate your light body, your crystalline structure, so that it can actually vibrate into a higher dimensional frequency, because you vibrate into a higher dimension, a lighter dimension, as your body will drop density. But everybody's going to notice that over time, and we go back and forth, so don't bind yourself to anything I say if that's going to be your reality, because it may not. But, Lauren, and I know that you're probably noticing this too, our bodies are dropping density, but they're getting bigger. Have you noticed that?
Well, I'm working on making it smaller.
I am too, but you know what? Let me tell you.
But we're still working out, and it's like staying the same.
Well, what's going to happen is, okay, so I'm going to explain this because a lot of people are talking about the weight issues, and they're getting bigger, and they can't get, for a while, you're not supposed to exercise. Okay, so now I've got to back up. For those who have never loved themselves, then there comes a point of this process that you start to exercise, feel good about yourself, you start to really care. That's a very important part of the process too. So I don't want to take away from that part. But then once you actually love and respect your body and love and respect you, then it really doesn't matter. You're not placing an emphasis on the way things look or anything. You're accepting of yourself no matter what. And that's a part of the process too. Well, when you start birthing your realities, then you move into the whole sacral area, and your belly will blow up, and you'll look pregnant. Your bones will expand. There's this whole process that starts to occur. You'll blow up with photonic light, and you're actually birthing a new reality, birthing creation. All your creativity, you're now creating your new realities that you're going to anchor in the physical, so that you can actually walk in your heaven on earth here. And everybody's heaven on earth is different, and each day it's going to be different too. So what inspires you today isn't going to be the same thing tomorrow, because it's going to be dependent on the phase that you're in. But every phase of the process, my body changed. And in the beginning, I got really, really thin and skinny, because I was in that place of learning to love and respect my body, really proud of my body, happy with my body. And then it's like, okay, now stop working out. I'm like, seriously? And then I didn't know that the grid work for the earth was in my muscles, and that I actually had to relax every muscle of my body and leave it relaxed until my whole body relaxed, and then your flesh. Everything has to completely expand, and what happens is, as you clear all the programs, space takes its place, which is where the light, floaty feeling and gravity goes. As you ascend, your physical body ascends as your higher self descends, higher selves, all of them, and you become the whole universe again. Well, then after I went through that process, then it moved to, we're never in one phase. We're always in all of them. It's just the dominant phase that we're in at that time, and what part of our body is going through what, and it'll move all around. Well, for me, when I hit higher mind consciousness, and the bottom half of my body quit blowing up, and then my jaw, my teeth, my brain, everything was exploding. And I went through all that for the ancient and the neural pathways to remass and all that to open up so all the knowledge can come forth. And then, you basically, your consciousness expands so far beyond your body, you're basically walking around as a field of consciousness, and your body is in your field. Once you've maintained that place and space, then you start integrating even more into your physical body and anchoring down, and it moves up the back of your back, up your spinal column, And as you float around out in space and in the heavens and all that stuff, you'll be at your crown chakra for a while, and then it starts cycling down the front side, which is where you really get into the embodiment process and the purification process and birthing all your new realities and all of these, and you're in service fully. Well, for me, I went through the birthing of New Earth and the blowing up, looking pregnant, and I could go from 0 to 10 months pregnant in about 10 minutes. And the pain, it was, I went through pelvic expansion, and you're actually birthing, literally. And when I had guys, as my clients would come and they're like, I thought I was pregnant. Everybody was freaking out at the time. I'm like, no, that's a part of the process too. I know, it was hilarious because one was a military, and he's looking at me, and he's freaking out, and his eyeballs popped out of his head, and he's like, oh, my God, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought I was giving birth. And I just had to bust out laughing. When I'm like, no, this is normal. But then you move into the higher mind consciousness, which is where your heart and your mind have to synchronize at the same frequency, and you're learning to live from unity consciousness and Christ consciousness. And so then it goes straight. It's more the brain and the pineal gland and the neural pathways. Well, then it moves to your spine, and this is where all your linear. Once you move, clearing the linear mind out, then the physical body, when you move to your spine, then that's when your cells start going plasma. And when your spine starts emitting plasma energy and your cells start emitting plasma energy, it gets a little bit bizarre and weird. First, I went through electromagnetic energy, and then you go through all these different energy processes. You become like a solar panel, and you're able to generate a ridiculous amount of energy yourself from inside. You're self-sustaining. You become the whole universe again. Well, after a few years, I noticed that my body just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I'm like, really? But I wasn't getting heavier. I was dropping density, but my body was bigger, and it's full of space.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm saying this is because a couple months ago I'm walking around, and I hear the word basically showing me that my body, I had been birthing, because once I went New Earth, then you move in, you go New Earth, then you go Universe, then you go into, then I went into Earth 3, then you move into the galaxy, and then you move into the galactic core, and then you move into multiple galaxies. And so each one, I was birthing new realities. Well, once I hit becoming a guardian of New Earth, and I'm birthing galaxies, my universe showed me this is what your galactic body looks like right now. It's because you've been birthing galaxies. When you walk around in heaven on Earth, and you birth galaxies, your body tends to look like you've been birthing forever. And that's what I was shown. I've been birthing forever, new realities, birthing, and all this creation. And so your body changes to adapt to that. So anybody noticing body changes, as long as you feel that you are completely aligned, and you're going to have to let go of the beliefs of the foods you can eat too, because that goes out the window too. Mm-hmm. But I mention this because our bodies are getting bigger for many reasons. One, so we can anchor a ridiculous amount of light in our physical body, because these bodies weren't meant for this, not really. They have to constantly adapt, but they also, we're holding massive realities in place with our physical body. And a lot of us have gotten bigger. And so for me, I'm not exercising as much as and up until last year, I wasn't, quote, allowed to exercise because I had to let everything in my body relax to the point that I could expand into the other galaxies. And you can't do that and maintain control over everything. You have to let go of everything. So I just say this because it gets a bit bizarre and weird. And if you haven't gone through it, you don't know what's going on. But if you are connected, you do. So it's about maintaining that connection all the time and asking, is this normal? Yep, sure is. Am I okay? Yep, sure are. Is anything wrong? Nope, this is normal. And just really just ask, is everything okay? Yeah. What do I need to do? And basically your human is going to be asking your higher self, your universe, what you're going to do. And you're going to listen to those instructions all day long, 24 hours a day. They're going to tell you. And if your human doesn't like what you're told, then you're going to call forth an experience to basically work all the energy out and get you to the same place you didn't want to listen to before.
Hmm. If we override that inner voice, watch out.
Yeah, that
Oh,
inner voice
God.
is trying to save you from suffering
Hmm.
and save you from experiences that technically you don't have to have. Once we realize that once you gain holographic access to the unified field and you're functioning from this place, you don't have to have most of the experiences anymore. It's just energetic. So like I get to see everything way in advance, like years, and pick which timeline. You can actually go in and create and connect, because basically we've done all these realities. So all you're doing is going and connecting into a reality that's already occurred, and you can actually call them forth. We have a lot of power and gifts here. It's really cool. If you're really in tune and paying attention and really caring and focusing your energy and expanding your consciousness, then everything opens up again and everything's available. But you're going to work through every distortion and every limit and every belief system that you used to have in order to get to this place where they don't exist anymore. So I know I went off in 12,000 directions, but it's important to say because everybody's going to get into the food, the body, and all these things going on. Last year it was like, okay, you're supposed to start exercising again. Well, it's taken me months, and I bought equipment, and my schedule was so whatever. Well, now it's like, nope, now it's a necessity. So now my priority, I've cleared my whole schedule to do gatekeeper and gridkeeper work for August, which is a big deal. And now my priority every day is going to be exercise and sunshine, because now I'm coming first.
Right, you've been doing a ton. Well, this is true freedom and liberation when we're able to fully move through this process, and you've outlined it so well, and we are really unraveling ourselves and these belief systems, and you've given us just a great vision of what we do and what we expect and how we process that. So happy clearing, everyone, and just be patient with yourself. Lisa's special offer is available, of course, on the special offer button on this webpage. We invite you to check it out. Okay, callers, we just have a few minutes left, and I know with Lisa that could take up some time still, which is beautiful. Whoa, no, there's no worries here because it's beautiful. I mean, everything that you say is doing its job. So we're going to go to a caller right now. Let's go to Dolores in Dayton, Ohio. Hi, Dolores. Do you have a question for Lisa?
Yes, I do. I think, and then Lisa, I can relate to a lot Lisa has to say here today. And
Beautiful.
I have actually put on weight. I had taken off weight, but now I've put on weight, especially on the lower part of my body, and have been very fast. And last week I was in a real piss-assy mood, and which I'm not normally. I'm usually very happy and peaceful, and I purposely say to people because I had low energy. I had no energy whatsoever last week. I was just really wiped out. So I just rested all the time, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I have been noticing things with my eyes, too. My eyes get real achy and watery, and Spirit keeps, they're just transforming. They're just transforming. I mean, the vision is so distorted, I can't see driving.
Well, I want to say this really quick, Dolores, because you brought up what I was about to talk about and didn't get a chance to. But the crystals in our body, when they activate, they start a purification process and a tuning process so that we can actually, we become very intelligent computer processors. And it's a bit bizarre for a while. We process everything instantly and simultaneously. The more crystals, we have developed crystals in our body. And so the reason I say this is last week I was walking around with a cloth on my eye with my eyeball flowing while crystals were exploding in my eyeball. And it's like, and I had to take my contact out, and I had to drive, and I was like bumping into everything. It is a part of the process. Now we're clearing, and we haven't talked about this, Loren, but we are clearing this August gateway. From what I keep seeing, I've been seeing this for months, is that this is a closure process. First of all, for the harmonic convergence, what I saw, the words are harmonic realignment for all of Earth, and it's huge. And it's basically the 30 years of the harmonic convergence activation. This is the conclusion of that. On top of, then it expanded the other day, and it goes back to the moment of the incarnation for everybody, however they started here, and we're clearing every timeline, and we've been overlapping and crisscrossing timelines while we do. We're in a 30-day cycle right now of clearing out that 30 years, and then we're going to catapult into the rest of it because we're going into every existence. So this is a big deal. So our bodies are going, we've moved into a huge, advanced, and rapid DNA upgrade process. So Dolores, when you're talking about yours, yes, this is a huge part of that too. Does that help?
Yes, it does. And then I also, I noticed I went out today and my neighbor was walking her dog, and I've noticed this with other dogs, especially my family's. The dogs can't stay away from me, and her dog just kept coming over. They were going for a walk, and this dog's never done this before. But he kept pulling her over to me, and he was just jumping on me and loving on me, and he just started yakking, and he wouldn't stop barking. I mean, he was talking to me. I wish I could understand what he was saying.
You will. If you will, just pay attention. You will. Dogs, animals, and children, they love the higher vibration. Now, they also don't do very well with them if they've been forced into lower vibrational stuff, because they've got to clear too. So it's important to honor and respect this, and to understand that everybody on Earth is going through this, and it's important not to try to fit back into those old linear anything with anything, because we do the same thing with pets and animals. We do the same thing with children, and children will actually teach us if we allow them to. So that's beautiful, Dolores.
Yes, and then also I've been using Saint Germain and the Violet Flame to do a lot of transmuting of everything from the past and the present that no longer serve me.
Good.
And then I'm transmuting it into what does serve me, into love and light.
You're transforming it.
Transforming it. Yeah, I'm
transmuting. Yeah, transmuting it. Yes.
And I'm transforming it. And I'm finding that, I'm trying to do this twice a day, morning and night, and I'm finding that has helped me greatly.
Beautiful. Yeah, we can use anything that resonates with us. So like when you say that you use that, I never used that. I never even heard about it, but I used something. I was more of a dominant masculine energy, if you will. I was more stubborn. And so some of the things that were softer and easier, they didn't really work for me. I needed stronger things. So basically I went a different route. But it doesn't really matter what we use. That's beautiful that it works for you. So a lot of feminine energy people will tend to resonate more with the flames and stuff. Now later, when I started activating the flames inside, then it did it naturally for me. It wasn't something I tried to do. So that's absolutely beautiful. Yes, we can use anything that works for us. That's the key. It doesn't matter if it works for somebody else. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It's what speaks to you, what works for you. And if it works for you, go for it. Bring everything in that does and use it. And you want to use many tools. You don't want to just use one, because basically your human will get used to that thing and it won't work anymore. So you want to move between everything. You want to be very versatile and adapt. So beautiful. Thank you, Dolores.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for everything you do for us. Friend, I love your show. I look forward to you being on these programs, because I love your updated information, because I look forward to it. And I've got these Andarius crystals also.
Yeah.
I got to start working with those more. I carry them with me
because work with them on a daily basis, sleep with them, interact with them. They're going to assist you huge right now. We've been working with them really strongly, and everybody is noticing how easy it is when you do. So
yeah, I do
doing that.
And I take them everywhere I go.
Yeah, me too.
They say thank you. Thank you, Dolores.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yes, you know, the violet flame is constantly coming up for me as well. It's very interesting, and it's so easy for us to do, and we can totally feel energy shift when we use it. So beautiful. Okay, well, I want to see if we can do one more caller. There's more than we can get to, but it's so fun. So let's check in with Melody in Hartsville, South Carolina. Hello, is this Melody?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Melody.
Hey, Lisa. I live close to Cary, where you used to live, and
I was going to say, you're at my old stomping grounds.
Yeah, and I live in a Bible Belt community, and I used to be a corporate finance accountant, but I left the job to my gosh, yeah, and I'm now full-time with my soul evolution.
Yep,
I'm
I did the same thing.
I'm listening. I love, Lauren, your platform. I really do. I do thank you from the deepest recesses of my heart. You are awesome. Thank you.
Oh.
Lisa. Yeah, Lisa, I love your work, and I was listening to every word you were saying, and it's really helping me. I think my question is,
yes,
as we go, I think I am accelerating. I know I am accelerating. I have a guest at home.
Yes.
And she's a guardian. She's a grid keeper. And there's stuff that I don't resonate. And I keep listening to your words that it has to be honorable, respectful, and all that. And are you able to tune in and say something to me?
Well, it's important that when we don't resonate with something, and this is what I've been telling people lately, and it's really, really important to understand, that when we don't resonate with something anymore, then that means that whoever or whatever is in your reality is your old state of unconsciousness. It's your old version of you. But our human will go into judging. So it's important. At one point, we did resonate. At one point, that was our consciousness. And it isn't until we don't resonate that we realize that we've expanded beyond that place and that space. So it's important not to judge. Now, the question is, what do you have? One, check the energy and see if the person around you is open. If they're not, respect that, respect you. But it's really important to open up. And this is where our human gets stuck, and I don't like the word stuck because it's never true. We're never stuck, okay? We're burning off energy. We're working through an old program. You're never stuck. The question is, what do you have access to within you and in your physical reality that you can open up further in order to expose and share that there is alternate realities, that there are other options from a place of love and respect, and expose this person to. Sometimes we just be our awesome self.
Yes, I actually embody compassion, and I use the word purity. Purity is one of my favorite virtues, and thank you so much.
Can you look at this person and see where they represent an old program you used to have?
I think at the beginning it was really awesome. I was picking up a lot of these tools and actually expanded my world service.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one moment is to get rid of the words I think.
All right.
Because every time you say, when you first started, you said I think, and then you said I know, and you shifted in the same sentence. Every time you say you think, you're in your head.
Okay.
So shift into the energy and start using the words I feel, I believe. Start paying attention to your beliefs. Start paying attention to your feelings, because this is going to tell you what you believe. Now the question is, this person cannot be in your reality if they don't hold a program that either you used to have or you still have, because technically you still have it if they're in your reality. Now, when you say, I don't resonate with it anymore, that means you're starting to move it out.
Wow.
Now, The key here is to understand that when you start getting fed up, because we also don't understand that when we start getting irritated, that means you're moving it out in a big way.
Wow.
Because you'll get irritated when you're about to get done with that vibration inside of your body, that program. When you get to the point of being fed up, you're about to move it out. But until we're fed up, we're not willing to do anything, right? We keep it around. So pay attention, because sometimes we have to get fed up before we do something. Other times we just say, no, not anymore. We don't actually have to go to that place of getting fed up, because we didn't let it keep going and going and going and going until there was nothing left. Timelines play out as long as we allow them to.
Wow.
It's your timeline. How do you shift it to a different vibration, one that's of a higher state of consciousness for you? How do you expose this person to what's important to you? How do you communicate from a place of love and respect and honor both of you? Remember, we include ourselves in this. We used to forget ourselves.
Thank you so much. My God. Whew.
Remember, your job, it will stay in your reality as long as you lack power and love within yourself.
My God. Wow.
You get to choose. And you can do it from love. We don't have to be mean anymore. We don't have to be unkind. We get unkind and mean when we let it keep going, because we get angry at ourselves.
Those are full. You're giving me full.
Yay.
Yeah, my God.
It doesn't have to be so hard anymore. We just have to realize we have a choice, and we stop compromising our soul, and that's key. Honor you on a soul level. And you will be honoring this person too. Respect you on a soul level, and you'll be respecting this person too. Now, sometimes we have to say no, and sometimes it's got to be strong, because we created very strong, fixed realities that we have to break or dissolve. And what happens is, when we're really human, we don't want to do the hard thing. And we have to break those realities. We have to dissolve them. You can dissolve them through love, or you can be abrupt, nip it in the bud, and say no, not anymore. You are the only one that can determine the energy you have to come from based upon the reality your programming created for you to even be in this situation to start with. Does that make sense?
Makes awesome sense. Yeah, thank you so much,
So now you
Lisa.
get to look at it. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm gonna see if I could get something out of the packages that you have out there. And
okay, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Just
Lauren,
remember,
thank you.
Your reality, all you have to do is expand your consciousness to a much higher state and sit and be. Just observe. Just see. And if you can maintain that highest state long enough, then you're going to be able to start shifting the energy a whole lot easier than if you're in your lower state of consciousness and playing out the program and caught up in it. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, sweetheart. Yay.
Thank you so much. Yeah. That was that's beautiful. Very beautiful. Yay. Thank you.
It's simple, guys. Very simple
you.
now. It's not so complicated anymore.
Yay! Hooray!
But our heart has to be open, because our head is what complicated it all.
Yeah.
So, very important that we start shifting those mentalities, that we start opening up completely, that we start entertaining the things and seeing the things we didn't want to see. And challenge your own belief, because your belief creates your reality. And so for you to choose your belief, well, no, I don't want to believe that anymore. I want to believe this. Then you actually get to shift it really easily. And it takes a lot of playing with your realities instead of letting them be so fixed. So it's very important. You kind of got to lighten it all up. So that's another thing. All right, Miss Loren, do we have another one?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Well, we are out of time, and we are going to dance our way to the cosmic heart, but I want to just recap this for everyone today. It is so much simpler these days, and truly it begins with love, and you are showing us how we expand in all ways, and we approach everything with love for ourselves. And when we come up against things that are strifeful outside of us or stressful outside of us, that is the greatest call and the greatest gift that we can give ourselves, is to keep our hearts open and really examine that and unravel it from this higher mind, higher consciousness founded on love and the principles of love. It is so beautiful. Lisa Transcendence Brown, I am just always elated after I talk with you. I always feel like I'm on cloud nine, and I know your specific answers to the questions for these few that we got to help all the rest of us get it so much more. So as we say goodbye, anything that you'd like to do to say to wrap this up?
Expect the unexpected. Be open to anything and challenge your human mind. And remember, this is how we treat each other. This is all up to us. So a lot of people, when you're sitting around waiting for a reality to occur, that when you start doing that vibrational reality, when you start doing that thing, that's your activation for the reality you want to start to come to you. So get up and do the vibration. Come from that loving, kind place. Open up the communication. Start doing. And New Earth, most people don't understand, is an investment of your time, energy, and your money. And it takes all of those, because if you're holding back in any way, it's your lack, which means that you're shorting yourself. So basically go all in with everything that you've got, and it's going to expedite you to be able to vibrate at a higher frequency, if you will, in order to start experiencing New Earth. And I want to say one other thing. New Earth is all around you. You have to actually want to see. It's an experience. It's a vibration. It's not something you think with your head. So open up and expect magic. Open up and expect the bizarre. Open up, but in a magical, awesome way. So just stay wide open, wide open. Challenge yourself in every moment. Push yourself beyond your previous limit, and honor your body. There's a lot of veil removal going on. There's a lot of sleep that occurs, a ridiculous amount. And so don't judge your journey. Listen to your body and open up to your higher self to be your new best friend and your guide. And eventually what we all do is we become our higher self. We become the whole universe. We become source. There is no more separation between these things anymore. And when you bring a bunch of sources together, that's a very powerful place to be. And that's what New Earth is. It's everybody standing as those aspects, fully embodied. And it's beautiful. So maybe that will help.
Absolutely, it does. New Earth is a vibration, and we can vibrate ourselves there, watching ourselves for every belief system and getting out that BS that truly limits us. Beautiful. Lisa Transcendence Brown, thank you for another awesome quantum conversation.
You too, sweetheart. Thanks, guys. Y'all have an amazing everything, and keep doing it, and give yourself a big old pat on the back. Everybody's worked really hard. Now it's time to enjoy it. So enjoy it. That's it. Enjoy it. That's my message.
Perfect. So enjoy, enjoy, and be that love. Thank you so much. If you are interested in Lisa's special offer, please check that out and learn more by that special offer button. For now, we will. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this program, please share it with your friends and loved ones. And we thank you for shining your magnificent light and adding it to the world. This is when we love ourselves like no one else can. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.